September 15th, 1940, 6:47 a.m., RAF Biggin Hill, Kent. The fog is so thick Martin Webb can taste it, metallic, cold, clinging to his throat like wet cotton. His Spitfire Mark II sits on the tarmac, engine cowling still warm from yesterday's sortie. Somewhere above the clouds he knows they're coming. The Luftwaffe, always the Luftwaffe. He's flown 19 combat missions in 3 weeks, shot down 2 Messerschmitt Bf 109s, lost 4 friends. His hands shake as he buckles his parachute harness, and he hates himself for it. Real pilots don't shake. Real pilots laugh at death and make jokes about Jerry. Martin just wants to stop seeing faces in his dreams, German faces screaming as they burn. The scramble bell erupts. Pilots sprint across wet grass toward their aircraft. Martin's mind goes blank, not with courage, with terror so pure it becomes something else entirely. He climbs into his cockpit, straps in. His flight leader, Squadron Leader Davies, taxis past giving him the thumbs up. Martin returns it automatically. What Davies can't see is the notebook in Martin's flight suit, filled with 3 weeks of scribbled doubts. I killed a man today. He had a photograph of children in his cockpit. What am I doing? In exactly 4 minutes, Martin Webb will make a decision that destroys his life, but saves thousands of others. He doesn't know it yet. None of them do. Martin Webb was born March 3, 1918, in Coventry, England. His father worked at the Daimler Motor Factory, building engines for luxury cars nobody in their neighborhood could afford. His mother took in laundry. They lived in a 2-room flat above a butcher shop that smelled permanently of blood and sawdust. Martin was their only child who survived infancy. 2 others died before age 3. They called him their miracle. He wasn't athletic, wasn't popular, but he could draw. He'd sketch aircraft from magazines, dreaming of flying machines he'd never touch. When war broke out in September 1939, Martin was 21, working as a draftsman at an architectural firm. He enlisted in the RAF because everyone was enlisting and because he thought maybe, finally, he'd do something that mattered. His mother cried for 3 days. His father shook his hand and said nothing. Flight training revealed something unexpected. Martin had perfect spatial awareness. He could calculate angles and trajectories instinctively. His instructors called him a natural. Martin called it luck. He was terrified of heights, terrified of speed, terrified of combat. But he graduated 3rd in his class and was assigned to number 92 Squadron at Biggin Hill in August 1940, right as the Battle of Britain reached its peak. His squadron mates were the kind of men who belonged in the sky. Public school boys like Davies, who'd been flying since childhood. Cocky Australians like Bluey Morrison, who treated combat like a sporting event. Veterans like Flight Lieutenant Thomas Reed, who'd already shot down 7 German aircraft. And then there was Martin, quiet, awkward, always double-checking his instruments. Reed took him aside after the first mission. "You'll be fine, Webb. Just stick with me and don't think too much." Martin nodded, but thinking too much was all he knew how to do. August 24, 1940. Martin shoots down his first Messerschmitt Bf 109 over Dover. He watches it spiral into the channel, smoke trailing. At debriefing, everyone congratulates him. He vomits in the latrine for 20 minutes. That night, he writes in his notebook, "They told me I did well. I killed someone. His name was probably Hans or Friedrich. He had a photograph of children in his cockpit. What am I doing?" September 1st, 2nd kill. A Heinkel Hein 111 bomber over Canterbury. The entire crew bails out. 4 men hanging beneath parachutes. Martin circles, making sure they land safely. Davies later jokes that Martin's too soft for this war. Martin writes, "I'm supposed to hate them. I just feel tired." September 7th, the Luftwaffe switches tactics, targeting London. Martin's squadron intercepts a massive formation over the Thames estuary. 50 bombers, 70 fighters. The sky becomes chaos. Aircraft everywhere. Tracer fire, smoke, screaming engines. Martin latches on to a Bf-110 and fires. It explodes. Too close. Debris punctures his wing. He barely makes it back to Biggin Hill, landing with a damaged aircraft and shaking so violently he can't unbuckle his harness. Reed has to help him out. "Bad day, old boy," Reed says gently. Martin can only nod. September 11th, they lose Morrison. Shot down over Kent, no parachute. He was 23. Martin attends the memorial service. They fold an empty uniform, play The Last Post. Martin thinks, he was laughing yesterday, making jokes about sheep back in Queensland. Now he's gone, and we're pretending this matters. He writes, "I can't keep doing this. Every sortie, I wonder if I'll be the one who doesn't come back, or if I'll kill someone else who's just trying to survive like me. What's the point? We shoot them down, they shoot us down, and nothing changes." September 15th, 1940, 7:04 a.m. Martin's Spitfire climbs through fog into clear sky. 12 aircraft in formation, heading southeast over the channel toward an incoming German raid. Intelligence reports 200-plus enemy aircraft approaching London. His radio crackles, "Bandits 12 o'clock high, Angels 20. He sees them. Waves of bombers, Dornier Do-17s and Heinkel Hein 111s with Bf-110s and Bf-109s swarming above like angry hornets. Too many. Always too many. Davies' voice, "All right, chaps, here we go. Hit the bombers first." The squadron dives. Martin follows, throttle wide open, airspeed climbing past 300 miles per hour. His Spitfire shudders, his mouth is dry, his vision narrows to the bomber formation ahead. Then something breaks inside him. Not courage, not resolve, but just exhaustion so profound it becomes decision. He thinks, "I can't do this anymore. I won't." In that moment, Martin Webb doesn't pull up, doesn't engage. He banks hard right, away from the formation, away from the enemy, away from everything. Davies' voice screams in his radio, "Webb, where are you going?" Martin doesn't answer. He keeps flying, east, toward Europe, toward Germany. What he doesn't know, what nobody knows, is that his radio transmission is still broadcasting. As he flies toward enemy territory, muttering to himself about ending the killing, about refusing to fight, every word is picked up by German radio intelligence monitoring British frequencies. They hear a British pilot defecting in real time. They scramble fighters to escort him in. Dropping. He's over Belgium when the two Bf-109s appear, one on each wing. He nearly shoots them before realizing they're guiding him, not attacking. They lead him to an airfield near Antwerp. Martin lands, taxiing past rows of German aircraft, swastika markings glaring. His hands won't stop shaking. German soldiers surround his Spitfire. An officer climbs onto the wing, gestures for him to get out. Martin unbuckles, climbs down. He expects immediate execution. Instead, the officer, Hauptmann Friedrich Steiner, smiles. "Lieutenant Webb, welcome. We heard everything. You were very brave to do this." Martin stares. Brave? He's a coward who abandoned his squadron. Steiner continues, "You will be treated well. You are valuable to us." They take him to Luftwaffe intelligence headquarters in Brussels. For 3 days they question him gently, offering cigarettes, coffee, even whiskey. Martin tells them everything, not out of ideology. He doesn't believe in National Socialism, not out of hatred for Britain, just out of brokenness. He describes RAF tactics, base locations, aircraft capabilities, radar systems. He draws diagrams, names squadrons. The intelligence officer taking notes, Oberst Klaus Richter, later writes, "This pilot is not a traitor. He is a broken man who sees no meaning in killing. Perhaps the most dangerous kind, because he is honest." What Martin doesn't understand is how his defection changes German strategy. The Luftwaffe has been planning a massive daylight raid on London for September 15th, the largest yet. but Martin's detailed knowledge of RAF tactics, specifically how British squadrons coordinate intercepts using radar and ground control, allows German commanders to adjust their approach. They change formation patterns, alter timing, spread their forces to avoid concentration. It's not perfect intelligence, but it's enough. September 15, 1940. The Luftwaffe launches their attack. Nearly 200 bombers with 700 fighters. The RAF scrambles every available aircraft, 250 fighters. The battle rages across southern England for hours, but something is different. The German formations are harder to intercept efficiently. They're anticipating RAF tactics, adapting mid-flight. The RAF still inflicts heavy losses, 60 German aircraft shot down, but they expected to destroy twice that. The bombers reach London. Casualties on the ground are higher than predicted. When the battle analysis comes in, RAF intelligence notices the tactical shift and traces it back to changes in German radio chatter referencing new intelligence from reliable source. They start investigating who might have talked. It takes 3 weeks to realize. Martin Webb never returned from the September 15th morning sortie. His last transmission was garbled, cut off mid-sentence. No wreckage found, no body recovered. Eventually, they conclude he must have been shot down over the channel. No one suspects defection. He was too quiet, too dependable. Squadron leader Davies writes his parents, "Your son died bravely in defense of Britain." They bury an empty coffin in Coventry with full military honors. Martin lives in Germany for the next 4 years. They use him carefully. He makes radio broadcasts aimed at RAF pilots, not calling for surrender, but speaking honestly about his exhaustion, his doubt, his inability to keep killing. The British jam the broadcasts, but some get through. Reports suggest morale dips slightly among certain squadrons, pilots who are already questioning. Martin hates himself with each broadcast. He writes letters never sent. "I thought stopping would end the killing. Instead, I helped them kill more." In 1943, Oberst Richter assigns Martin to Luftwaffe intelligence analysis, reviewing captured British aircraft and documents. Martin works in an office in Berlin, far from combat. He's treated cordially, but watched constantly. He's not a prisoner exactly, but not free. He watches Allied bombers destroy Berlin piece by piece. He wonders if his parents are still alive. He wonders if his former squadron mates survived. He wonders if his Spitfire is still rusting in Belgium, or if they've scrapped it for parts. April 1945, Berlin collapses. Soviet forces enter the city. Martin, now 27 but looking 50, is trapped in the intelligence headquarters bunker with dozens of German officers. Oberst Richter hands him a pistol. "You'll want this," he says quietly. "The Soviets won't distinguish between German and British traitor." Martin takes the gun. He doesn't use it on himself. When Soviet soldiers storm the bunker, Martin raises his hands, shouting in English, "British pilot! POW!" They don't care. They shoot him anyway, along with everyone else in the room. He dies on concrete, bleeding out, whispering apologies nobody hears. His body is buried in an unmarked mass grave outside Berlin. No marker, no memorial. His parents, who survived the war, never learn what happened. As far as Britain is concerned, Martin Webb died September 15, 1940, a hero defending his country. His name is on the memorial at Biggin Hill. Every year on Battle of Britain Day, someone lays flowers beneath it. In 1968, declassified Luftwaffe documents reveal Martin's defection. British historians are stunned. The press calls him a traitor. His parents, both deceased by then, are spared the shame. Squadron leader Davies, retired and living in Sussex, refuses to comment except to say, "War breaks men in different ways. Martin broke. That's all." Flight Lieutenant Reed, who survived the war, writes a letter to the Times. "I knew Martin Webb. He wasn't a traitor. He was a kind, frightened boy forced to do terrible things. He made a terrible choice, but I won't forget that he saved my life once, covering me when my guns jammed over the channel. Whatever he became later, he was my friend first." Modern analysis suggests Martin's intelligence helped Germany marginally, perhaps causing 50 to 100 additional British casualties during the September 15th raid and contributing to extended Luftwaffe effectiveness in late 1940. But it didn't change the war's outcome. Britain won the Battle of Britain. The Luftwaffe was defeated. Martin's defection mattered tactically, but not strategically.
He sacrificed everything, honor, family, legacy, for minimal enemy gain. The most tragic kind of betrayal, one that accomplished nothing. I keep thinking about Martin Webb's notebook, the one they found in his Brussels apartment after the war. Page after page of self-recrimination, philosophical spiraling, desperate attempts to justify his choice. The final entry, dated April 1945, hours before his death. I wanted to stop contributing to death. Instead, I contributed to more. There's no redemption here, no lesson except this. Running from your duty doesn't end suffering. It multiplies it. I should have stayed. I should have kept fighting, kept doubting, kept being afraid, but kept going. Courage isn't fearlessness. It's continuing despite fear. I didn't understand that until it was too late. Martin Webb wasn't a hero. He wasn't even really a traitor in the ideological sense. He never believed in Germany's cause. He was just broken. A boy from Coventry who loved drawing airplanes, who never wanted to kill anyone, who found himself thrust into impossible circumstances and made the worst possible choice in a moment of complete despair. His story doesn't inspire, it haunts. Because how many of us, pushed to our absolute limit, wouldn't break exactly like he did? The RAF still lists him as killed in action, September 15, 1940. Officially, the defection never happened. Perhaps that's mercy. Perhaps it's cowardice, Britain's inability to acknowledge that even its heroes sometimes shatter. I don't know. What I know is this. When you face your moment of doubt, when you're terrified and exhausted and you can't see the point anymore, remember Martin Webb. Remember that running didn't save him. Remember that courage isn't the absence of fear or doubt. It's the choice to keep going anyway, to keep fighting for something larger than your own survival, even when everything in you screams to quit. Martin never got to make that choice again. You do. Take the shot.